Jedway, for seniors. I can't believe it, because it is literally like...
Good morning, Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living. We got a wild and crazy bunch in the house. So good to see you all. And we are so thankful for this day, are we not? Your senior minister, your spiritual director, and I'm ever, that's not a sentence.
Anyway,
I am so happy to see you. And we have a wonderful program planned for you today. We have some special guests in the house. Our speakers today are Reverend Susan Overland from there, and her beloved Max Overland, our practitioner and board member. They're going to be sharing the pulpit and giving us a beautiful inspiration. So we're going to start out with our new, thanks to Delane, our new Namaste greeting that we do, and how we do that safely, how we say good morning to each other safely, is we keep our hands in prayer position. And we do a respectful bow, which going to high school and college in Japan, I thought was really wonderful the way the Japanese would meet one another. So they're looking into their eyes, yet making a safe greeting. So let's do that. Say good morning to 3 people. A namaste is the divine light in me honors the divine light in you.
back to class.
I love watching all of you do that. It is so beautiful. So let's say, just for giggles, why we are here. So let's do this together. Our vision: we are a welcoming sanctuary community where all are accepted, valued, and supported in the global family. And our mission: we inspire personal and global transformation through the teachings of science of mind. And our purpose: in joy and love, we connect in service to all life. Wonderful. And it is my great pleasure and honor to bring our practitioner and board member, Max Overland, up to take us deeper.
Let's pray. In this moment, in this place, everyone who is with us, both online and here, know with me that there is one Spirit, one God, whatever name we call it. And as there is only one Spirit, I know that I am connected to this Spirit, and everyone in the sound, within the sound of my voice, are connected to the one, the true Spirit. And in that connection, I am holding for us this morning that as we move through the rest of this service with our wonderful music, with the message that is to come and the fellowship that is to happen afterwards, the meeting and the greeting and knowing one another deeper. I know that as we move through this morning, we are changed. Our life, our mind, our spirit, our connection with the one. We are changed, new beings, renewed in spirit. And I know this is true for me, and I know this is true for everyone in here, so I am going to release word into the action of the law, and with a grateful heart, with a joyful expectancy, I hold this. Let it go and trust in Spirit. And if any of this rings true with you, please anchor this by saying with me, and so it is. I'm stepping on the court. That's fun. So our reading this morning is from Ernest Holmes and the Philosophy of Jesus, page 10. The power that Jesus manifested was divine. It was not the will of an individual, but his willingness to believe that gave him power. It was not a concentration of spiritual forces that Jesus exercised, but rather a childlike and implicit faith in the reality of the Spirit in human affairs. And now, One Love Band.
So this is a chant that some of you may be familiar with, and I encourage you to sing along. You're going to have a special part right in the middle that you're going to sing kind of solo with me. Okay? Please enjoy. Be a sanctuary sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary, oh, for you.
Prepare me in sanctuary, pure and holy,
Tried and true. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary, oh, for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary, oh, for you. And with thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary, oh, for you.
Hey, good morning again, Sacramento.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for having us back, or having me back, and Max. Now we're a team. You get 2 for 1 today. So, you probably, if you've been following along, you know that for the month of November, we've been talking about abundance, playfully calling it abundance, but I wasn't going to get up here and do a bun dance. And that's why he's here. Comic relief. So on November 3rd, our topic was Life is Sweet. And on November 10th, our topic was kind of more buns to share. And today our topic is loaves and fishes. And I really, really appreciate that, because the reading that we heard from Ernest, where he was talking about Christ, you don't hear that a lot in our Science of Mind churches, right? Because it's like, oh no, they're talking about Jesus. And I am absolutely okay with that, because I learned the moment I set foot in a Science of Mind church was that Christ consciousness is what we want to model. And that Jesus Christ was the great example, not the great exception. Because there are so many amazing wisdom teachers. So I love that topic today. And I wanted to start by exploring a question that I read in the topic outlines, which is, what if it was possible to have the faith of God, not in, but the faith of God, and rise from living a life of lack and limitation to a life of abundance? I love that question. What if we had the faith of God and we could rise from any thoughts or the type of living from lack consciousness to a consciousness of abundance? Because having the faith of God means that we move beyond any sense of limitation, right? We start to think about moving into a consciousness of plenty. And it's so timely, right? Because it's Thanksgiving, and everybody's got their cornucopias and their, it's abundance, their meals and menu planning and the feast that's going to happen, and then the gratitude. When Jesus fed the multitudes, that story of loaves and fishes, it was profound because he did. He had 5 loaves and 2 fishes. That was it. And there were hundreds, thousands of people that had flocked to hear him speak. But he did so knowing that God was his source and supply. He absolutely, unflinchingly. And I read that again about what Ernest said. Jesus was not the great exception, and this is Ernest's quote. He was the great example, and he even said, "Greater works than these you shall do." He told us. Oh, you mean the miracle thing? Well, you can do that. Actually, you're going to do more than that. And I don't think we think about that often enough. I think we forget that. Anybody holding a mobile device? Blessing and a curse, I know, but but when you think about this man who had 5 fishes and 2 loaves of bread and fed so many people and said, "Oh, you'll do greater things than that," and then you have somebody like Jose Andres, our chef from Spain, who started World Central Kitchen, who feeds multitudes. And he's a first responder. He's in war zones. He's in natural disasters. He's like one of the first, there's fire department and then Chef Jose. Basically, that's who shows up. And so that aspect of miracles is what I wanted to talk about, because I actually wanted to ask, have any of you experienced a miracle? Let me see. Okay. I think sometimes we forget to pay attention to the miracles that are happening all the time. I keep telling that story. I have to tell that story today because we walked into our first Science of Mind church when we were engaged to be married. We weren't married yet, and we were looking for a spiritual community. We'd made a list, and I was working for Hewlett-Packard, and on my lunch hour one day, one of my coworkers said, "How was your morning?" I said, "It's kind of quiet, so-and-so, my boss isn't here." I said, "I've actually been online looking for a spiritual community." We didn't have Google then, by the way. So I noticed I didn't say Googling. And she said, "Oh, you like..." Did I just break something?
No, that's rain.
Oh, okay.
It's the rain stick.
Oh, okay.
It was the rain stick.
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle. Everywhere I go. So she wasn't like proselytizing or trying to entice me, but she said it, she looked at me, she said, "Oh, you love my church." And she said it so confidently. And I said, "Oh, where do you go?" And she said, "Oh, the Center for Spiritual Living." And I went, "Huh." So I got home and I told him that evening. He said, "Well, do you want to go Sunday?" It was a holiday weekend. It was Memorial Day. And we went, and it really did check all the boxes. This list that we had written, seriously, sitting in a restaurant, we were writing like, well, we wanted to have good music. We want a relevant message, a message for the life we live in, and we want it to be, I don't know, something that really moves us and inspires. And it did. And so we're walking, the best part of the story is we're walking to the car after that first service, and Max is kind of thumbing through the bulletin. And he said, "Oh, they have this, they have this, they have this." And I was a couple of steps ahead of him. I didn't even turn around. I put my hand up and I went. I'm not getting involved.
You saw how that worked.
God is funny. A year later, I was on the board. Anyway, a couple of months after that, the minister took the pulpit, as every Sunday, and he said, "Okay, if you're here for the first time, I'm going to give you a chance to leave because this is the money talk." For the month of October, we talk about money. It's not the time you bring your friends. He said, but it's the one time a year, you know, we're a family, and it's the one time a year where we talk about money. And I didn't leave, but I turned and I looked at him and I went, there it is. Because I thought, right, this place is too good to be true. And then that happened, and I went, here it comes. Okay. Sorry, I'm conscious of time. So I was raised Catholic, and at a time in my life where 2 boys, my husband not working, we had to move from the place we were living to go to something we could afford. And we were in a whole different parish. My oldest was starting kindergarten, and a knock came on the door. And it was a lovely couple with cookies, and they were the welcome wagon from the new parish. And they had all these color brochures and stuff, and they said, oh, you have 2 kids? Oh, we have a pool in the summer. It's kind of like a summer camp, and the kids I got more and more excited the more they talked, because my mom used to watch the kids while I worked, and she could walk there. She didn't have to worry about driving them too far or anything. She said, oh, we have these pottery classes. The boys would love it. And we have this, we have that. I was like, oh, this is amazing. I said, so what is the cost for the camp? And she said, oh, it's free for our members. You know, those people who, you know, pledge. And she presented me with a pledge card. Excuse me. I haven't talked enough today, so surprising, I know. So she presented me with a pledge card, and I said, you could check with Father Frana from this church. I was part of the parent-teacher group. I was the secretary. We're very involved. We volunteer all the time. We're there like every Sunday, and we do all kinds of stuff. I said, but financially, we're a little strapped right now. So we give of our talent instead of our money. Hold this a second. Literally, they went like that, picked up the brochures and said, oh, well, when you become a member. And as they started walking to my front door, I grabbed the tin of cookies and went, wait! And I kind of pushed them at her. And I said, don't forget your bleeping cookies. So now I'm in this brand new spiritual center with my fiance at the time. And I'm hearing this talk about money, and immediately that came up. And then I heard him say, it has nothing to do with the amount that you give. This is between you and God. It is our nature to give. It is a spiritual practice, right? It's the law of reciprocity. Actually, you could do this with me. Everybody take a deep breath. Now don't exhale. Right? It's impossible. So he was explaining that reciprocity, right? That give and take. And he said, what matters is that it's an agreement between you and God. You can, yes, there's a pledge card. You change that anytime you want. We don't knock on your door, and I laughed out loud in the church. Sometimes they do. But he said, you change it anytime you want. And by the way, you can give more if things change, if something happens to shift, or if you have to give less. What matters is that you give regularly and consistently and identifiably. When that basket comes around, there's a little envelope under your seat. Put your name on whatever you're putting in there. If it's a quarter or $250, 25 cents or $250, put your name on it. Regularly and consistently. If you're on vacation, mail it in. We didn't have QR codes back then. This was like 2001. And by that time, I was taking classes. So I was in a class one time. Good. The rest of the story that I have to tell you, when I divorced my first husband, there was a $36,000 IRS debt. And he had very clever ways of making money. And I was basically Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. So every tax season, I would get a notice that my wages were being garnished. Every tax. It was like 20 years. Never got a tax return. But when we divorced, he signed a paper that said that he was responsible for all debt prior to 1990, whatever it was. So I heaved a sigh of relief. And then the next garnishment came. And I was like, well, no, I have a paper. And he said, that's a civil agreement. That has nothing to do with the federal law. So I was on the hook for 36 grand. And I was in practitioner, and I was, by the way, I was giving regularly and consistently because I paid God first. That's what I learned. And it wasn't anywhere near like the thousands of dollars that I did in later years. But I was in prac class, and I burst into tears because the next garnishment had come in. And my prac teacher, and the practitioner TA said, who's your source? So what are you going to do about it? I had made them such a big, giant monster under the bed, and I kept waiting for my ex. He's going to take care of it. He'll take care of it. So I picked up the phone, literally shaking, if you can imagine that. Like, I was so scared. I picked up the phone. I was shaking. I had tears. I was crying. And I talked to this woman, and I said, I have 2 sons. One of them just moved back home because he can't afford to live on campus. So there's teens. One of them is still going to high school. I just don't want to be homeless. And I was crying. He said, I'll make payments because my ex is going to take care of this, and he was supposed to, but he won't. And that. And she said, can you take a deep breath? She said, we're not in the business of putting people on the street. She said, how much do you want to pay? And I said something really stupid like, well, $500 a month. And she said, with 2 children and you're working 2 jobs? Because I told her that I was working 2 jobs. And she said, do you think you can do that? I went, it would be rough. She said, let's rethink it. How much can you pay? And I said, okay, like $150 every payday, twice as much. I will send you the paperwork. I'm releasing the garnishment, sending you the paperwork. I never got the paperwork. So now I'm panicky. I'm like, I have to freaking call him again. It took everything to call him the first time. Now I have to do it again. And I waited and I waited. And then, like, February or something, I got a brown envelope in the mail and it said Department of the Treasury. And I went, and it was a check. And I was like, what the H is this? Except it wasn't H. I got a tax return for the first time in 20-some odd years. And I cried. I was like, no, I have to call them. They made a mistake. They sent me money. I was a mess. And I called again. And she said, it wasn't the same woman. It was another person. And they said, that's your tax return. Why are you upset? I said, because I don't get a tax return. Like, I owe money. You're not supposed to send me money. Lesson number 2, always accept the money. She said, hold on. She came back on the phone. She said, that file is stamped uncollectible. You don't know anything. Wow. $36,000 was gone. Spiritual principles work. We don't stand up here and teach tithing because we want to pay the electric bill. And by the way, yes, we do. We got some work to finish.
Thank you.
Ministers are not supposed to work for free. We do take a vow of abundance, not poverty. We're not priests. So I share that story often as I can because it was literally a miracle. And it started when I accepted that I am accountable, I am responsible, God is my source, and I will always give to God first.
Having faith in spirit and faith in the workings of the science of mind and in the workings of our lives. sometimes we need to approach it from a childlike aspect. And one of the things that, when I was a child, and when we have childlike faith, we don't question, we don't doubt. Children believe in magic, that all things are possible. We're coming in Christmas time, and Santa Claus, and all of the pretty things that we get to experience and that we as adults see. But then when we see them in our grandchildren's eyes and our children's eyes, and that magical look, the big eyes watching these things. Children expect miracles. They have yet to be conditioned into the dream of the world of lack and limitation. They look at life with wonder, curiosity, and joy. The boy in the loaves and fishes story had the faith of God when he handed Jesus his meager amount of 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. When I read this, it brings me back to my youth as a kid. I remember there was one thing it's funny in my head. My dad kind of thought it was funny as well. But Mom and Dad were having a little bit of a financial problem, and I heard them talking about it. They were talking about it a little loudly, but they were talking about it. And it was upstairs in their bedroom with the door closed. Later on in the afternoon, this was a Saturday, later on in the afternoon, I'm sitting on the front porch, Dad's sitting on the front porch, and there used to be this commercial on TV, and it was Phil Rizzuto and the Money Store. And this was back in Connecticut. You remember that as soon as I say that.
East Coast. Yeah.
Yep. And I told my dad, I said, Dad, you don't have to worry about financial issues. I said, there's a money store. Go to the money store and let them know what you need and you'll be able to get it. And my dad laughed at me, not in a bad way, but he chuckled and he said, son, I don't think that's what it really is about. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Of course it is.
He was a loan shark with a storefront, basically. For Rizzuto.
The piece about that was that I was looking at the situation with a childlike faith, knowing that whatever difficulty they were having, it didn't need to be there, because there was a source that was bigger and larger than that. Fast forward years from then, I had gotten, can you guys finish this phrase for me? Money doesn't grow
on trees.
I learned that. I learned many other pieces don't have dreams because they don't come true. So when I met my first wife, we got married when I was way too young to do that, but anyway, we did. And I got soured on marriage. I thought it was one thing, but no, apparently it isn't. And all of those negative pieces that don't dream, because dreams don't come true. Don't expect anything from life because it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So I left my faith tradition. I left a lot of different things. And that hardened heart, that malaise that happens as a result of that, just being a human that goes to work, comes home from work, pays their bills, does their things. Oh, well, that happened. And then it started taking on different things, where I started harming myself and causing harm to myself. I didn't see the miracles. I didn't see the miracle that I had food on my table. I didn't see the miracle that I was able to pay my rent every single month. I didn't see the miracle of, oh my gosh, I have a job that's giving me a living. And instead I started being destructive. And a few years later, I found myself a heroin addict in a hospital on my deathbed. And a doctor saying, we're getting ready to do the 3rd surgery on you. If you wake up, we were successful at getting rid of the poison in your system. If you don't, well, we're just not going to wake you up. 2 days later, I woke up. Before they did the surgery, I said, I don't want to die. He said, it's not up to me. I'm just going to do the surgery. So whoever you believe in, you better talk to them now. Because this is it. And 2 days later, when I woke up, the doctor told me we got it. And I said, of course, I'm awake. By the time I got ready to walk out of that hospital, it had been 3 weeks. And normally they do a wheelchair, and I asked them not to. Can I walk, please? And they said, yes, you can walk out of the hospital. We'll walk behind you a little bit just in case if you get wobbly. And as I was walking out of this hospital, I was thinking to myself, how am I ever going to kick this habit? Because I know being a heroin addict is one of the toughest things to be able to quit. And I'm about halfway outside of the hospital and it clicked. I have been drug-free for 3 weeks. I'm done. I won't go through withdrawals. When I stepped out of that hospital into the sunlight, I got to see blues that were bluest I've ever seen in my entire life. The greens were greener than I had ever seen. The flowers were the most beautiful that I had ever seen. Because I knew I was walking out alive. And my life would never be different from that point forward. The dream was back. And then flash forward. I meet my wife, my current wife.
Bonus.
Absolute bonus. When I walked out of that hospital, you couldn't have told me ever that I would meet somebody who would be the love of my life. And she's standing here beside me. She is the absolute apple of my eye. You could have told me I would have a home, and I would have laughed at you 100% of the time, all the time. I would have just laughed. But you see, God planted a seed on that day that I got to see a really big blue sky. And I got to see the flowers. And I got to see greens that I had never seen before in my life. God planted the seed of change in my heart so that when this woman came into my life, I could recognize the miracle of it. When we had the opportunity of getting a home, and God said, you're going to have a home. I don't care whether you have the income or not. We're going to get one for you. And that's what happened. When the miracles start happening again for me, it was that childlike faith. Whereas a little kid going, ooh, this does happen. Thank God for a miraculous thing that transpired in 1993. Never looked back and have never missed anything because it was all new. And 6 years later, everything started anew.
So imagine two people who basically got married the first time when they weren't old enough to pick out a sweater. No, it's a life partner. And on these very different paths, and then here we are. I have learned to pray like Jesus. Because I don't know if anybody reads the Bible anymore. I love my favorite class to teach is Bible wisdom, because I teach that class from a metaphysical perspective. And whenever Christ prayed, he started with gratitude. If you get a chance to even look at any passage, typically where he's talking, where Christ is talking to God, he always starts with, Father, I thank thee. When he was healing the sick, he would say, Father, I thank thee. And then he would basically say, get up and walk and sin no more. But we learn through metaphysics that sin is missing the mark. So what Christ was saying is, don't go back to the way you were before. It was basically, don't go back to sleep, you know? You've had a healing, you've had an awakening, right? But always, always started with gratitude. And I've learned that. We have gratitude. We do spiritual mind treatment. It's our 4th step. But I have I frequently start with, I'm so grateful God is gracious. I kind of like starting with that, and it's good to bookend it, before we get to release and do it again. So we wanted to lead you with a couple of thoughts, and one of them is that if you could be grateful in advance, if there's something that you're wanting to bring to fruition, right, to manifest in your life, what if you started being grateful in advance? We have a colleague, Reverend Sharon Mamie, in Seattle, and I love her practice. She has, I think it's marketing. Don't quote me on that, but when she's going to meet a prospective client, she writes the thank you note for their business before she even meets them. She writes out the thank you note. I was like, that is brilliant. If you could be grateful for in advance for what it is you're trying to manifest, and then keep track of that. I still keep a gratitude journal from time to time where I'm like, there's been a lot of stuff, and when I do it? When I'm really annoyed at something. Perhaps the world isn't going the way I thought it should have gone. So I have to break out that gratitude journal and remember that I have community, and I have friends, and I have a spouse, and a home, and food, and an automobile, all those things. And sometimes when I write in my gratitude journal, and it's got to be like a really bad day, sometimes I'll write something like, I am so grateful I didn't hurt anyone today, physically. It's okay. It's okay if you really got to scrape the bottom of the barrel to find it. I also want to encourage you to think about what you give, and can you give in a way that is consistent, regular, and identifiable. If you're not doing that yet, do it. And release judgment on yourself. I used to think about that. Like, what if I'm not going to put $1 in an envelope and put my name on it? Yes, I would now. I have learned so much. Like God's in judgment. Oh my God, you only give $1 today? God is from Brooklyn sometimes. Sorry, that's how I hear it. And if you could pay attention to the miracles. Pay attention to the miracles. Where are my singers at? Any chance like the first couple of lines from Bing Crosby? When I'm worried and I can't sleep. Anybody know it?
I count my blessings
instead of sheep, and I fall asleep counting my blessings. Love that song. Love that song. And he knew what he was talking about. So if you could be aware, like whatever you're doing, if you're grocery shopping, if you're out, any of you take walks, I'm trying to do this 15-minute a day thing. Pray for me. But you know what I do sometimes? I take a walk in my neighborhood, and I don't have my phone in my hand, and I look around my neighborhood as if I just moved in. I make believe I just moved in, and I'm like, oh look, they put out one of those little mini libraries in front of their house, and I stop and I see what books are in there, or somebody planted new flowers, somebody got a new fence or new curtains. Just pay attention. And that's another way to be aware of the beauty and really the miracles that surround us. Are you in?
Yeah.
All right, let's pray. Did I forget anything? Oh, I did forget something. Thank you. We brought a lovely parting gift for everyone. Larry, could you help us give some out? Sure. Could you walk around?
Absolutely.
Oh, I should take one so I know, I could tell him what it is. I know, it's a surprise. So,
This tab goes down.
I knew I was going to forget.
Pass that down.
Take it out. We wanted to give you something to help you remember that you are part of something bigger. Right? If you're having a bad day, if it's a bad week, if it's a bad month, if you're worried about the future or anything. Wow, we're really bad at this.
Yeah. There we go.
See, that's why this morning I thought, I should take one out and put it in my pocket.
There you go.
There. I was telling a story last week in Vallejo about how we started doing jigsaw puzzles during COVID, and we did one and got to the end and there was a piece missing. Got the whole thing put together and there was a piece missing.
Yep. Brand new.
Brand new. Gee, I didn't know if it fell on the floor and the dog ate it or whatever. But I think having something like this, you can put it on your keychain, you can keep it in your pocket to help you remember that you are a piece of something bigger. Remember that you matter. You matter in this community. You matter in your city. You matter to your barista or the person that bags your groceries. Really, you make a difference. So just keep this with you, like on a keychain or something. One of the women last week said, I'm going to put it on a chain and wear it like a necklace. So
That's what I got.
there you go.
I love it.
I love parting gifts.
Thank
Should we
you.
pray? Let's take a deep breath and pray together. There is only one power, one presence, one nurturing being that has so many names. Jesus, Lord, Buddha, Gaia, Baha'u'llah, Muhammad. I call it God. I learned it when I was very little, and it's simple and it stays with me. But whatever name you give it, it's not going to be enough, because language is somewhat inadequate to sum up all of the things that this power and presence is. It is a God of love, absolute, pure love. It is a God of abundance. Our oceans, flowers, beauty, all of the people, chocolate. It is a God of power and light and grace and compassion and kindness. And again, not enough words to sum up and encompass all that it is. But it is. And it is constant. It is regular and consistent. It is my source in all things. And the beauty of this teaching, this philosophy, this way of life, this faith that we call the science of mind has taught me that all of these things God is, I am. All of them. Like not some of them, not just on Sunday when I'm praying with other people. 24/7, 365. I am one with it. One with the one. And the other thing about this beautiful philosophy that we love and believe in, it has taught that I'm also one with every other being. We are the stuff that stars are made of. We are breathing the air that was breathed by Ernest Holmes. All of these atoms and molecules that make up our being. So yes, each person is a part of me and I am a part of them. And so when I treat, when I speak my word, I do so absolutely knowing that abundance is everywhere. That the loaves and fishes will continue to multiply. And so I relieve any sense of lack, limitation. I let that go. I send that back, like Emma Curtis Hopkins taught me, back into the nothingness from whence it came. And in its place is my deep knowing that God is all there is, and I pass my word to my beloved.
And as we continue this abundance, know with me, with a joyful, grateful heart, there is change in the air. there is a newness in the air. There is a renewal of our spirit. There is a renewal of our minds. And that in our mind's eye, we get to see the abundance that is ours. We get to see the peace that is ours. We get to see the joy that is ours. We get to see what we see because we are connected to the Spirit that knows only one word, and that word is yes. So our deepest heart's desire, the word is yes. Our deepest thought that we say, oh, I can't dream of that. Spirit is going, yes, yes, you can. And we get to hear that blessed yes. Every day, every moment, every minute. So as I release this word into the action of the law, I know that we are the answered prayer that this world needs. We are the answered prayer that we need. We are answered prayer every moment of every day, because we get to see the face of God staring back at us with every person we come into contact with. And I'm grateful for this. My heart is filled because of this knowing. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you. Thank you that I can see this in my own life. And if any of this prayer with Reverend Susan and myself speaks to you, please close this prayer by saying with me, and so it is. And now, again, we get to hear this wonderful, wonderful team, One Love Band.
When I wrote this song and I played it the first time, the first line, I would say, I want to be holy. And Reverend Sharon said, but you are holy. And that was a concept that took me a while to really think, am I holy? So, this is the song. Holy, I am holy, I have grace in days like these. Higher, I choose higher. Bring the light to the darkness, and when I feel it, really feel it, love is the answer. There's nothing to fight, and when I see it, everywhere see it, I choose the light. Holy, I want you to know me, feel my love overflowing. Peace, I am peace. Let the sea
Wow. Wow. Sorry, I have a big voice, so I know I'm a challenge. So now it's time for our gifts, tithes, and offerings. One moment. You guys, Sue, oh my gosh. I'm sitting here listening to this song and I'm like, wow, what a prayer. Thank you.
You all wrote it.
Thank you. Okay. So, as Reverend Susan was saying earlier, and now it's time for our gifts, tithes, and offerings. And sorry, I need to do this first, then I'll go. Giving financially is a sacred service. When we give, we activate and increase our own flow of good. Is that the prayer? So, it gets easier as you notice the increase in your abundant life. Giving to the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living supports our vision, mission, and purpose. We appreciate your support. As the vice president of your board, thank you for what you do for this center, because you make a difference. You help this message to continue and to move through the world and to be available for everybody who walks through these doors. So there are different ways to donate.
I'll take one.
Yeah, I'll take one too. I love donuts.
Where's your mind, Max?
So yeah, I know. Where's my mind?
Bummed we didn't bring donuts.
I know, right? No nuts of dough today. So anyway, you can use the, what is that thing called again? I forgot the name.
QR code.
The QR code. I don't know why I do that. I use them all the time. You can use the QR code if you are with us live. You can scan that. Or at home. Thank you. Or at home. Or you can use PayPal or credit card. And or mail a personal check to Sacramento CSL. And the address is there. Anyway. So, will everybody please repeat our abundance affirmation? In consciousness of abundance, I give freely, knowing that I am freely given to. Oh, I have more.
Yep. But wait, there's more.
Oh, wait, there's more. Thank you. If any of you have prayer requests, the prayer request online can be through our website at www.saccsl.org for Sacramento CSL. Please use that. As a practitioner, this is our opportunity to pray for anyone who has any specific need so that we can hold you and watch that change happen for you and hold that place in prayer. So that sometimes, have any of you ever seen the footprints in the sand where there are two and then they go to one?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's the same thing as what we get to do for you. Because sometimes our burdens are a little bit deeper and bigger, and we need somebody else to hold that for us and hold us in prayer while we're working something out that's just mind-boggling for us. So that's what practitioners like to do. We like to hold you up as you're moving through changes and transitions and things that seem so heavy in our lives. And that is our gift for you. So please, when you have an opportunity, if you have a prayer request, please send them to us. We like to pray.
Yes, we do.
All right. So, after today, One Love Band will have a music hour. Everyone is welcome. The only requirement is that you love to sing and play. And it's every third Sunday of the month at 12 to 1.
So, at noon today.
Like I said, yes, at noon today. Sorry. Okay.
You said after today. I thought, is that tomorrow?
Oh, that could have been tomorrow. My wife, I love.
Yeah, get that out.
Yeah, it's today at noon. Today.
There you go.
Okay, there you go. Not after today. Today. After service. Thank you. The Saturday classes for the art and science of spiritual mind treatment that Reverend Sharon is having. The next one is scheduled for the first Saturday in December. So you can still join.
Oh, yeah.
Please join this course and be involved with it. These spiritual mind treatments actually do work. Wellspring Women's Center. This is the last week, right, Reverend Sharon?
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Would you like to talk to us about this?
we're gonna, Anne?
The collection is through today, but Jennifer is taking care of donating it to the Women's Center, and she'll pick it up next week. So if you still have things to donate, or the coats,
One more week.
we can do
Okay.
that as well.
So, while this is the last week, we're still not delivering anything until after service next Sunday.
Yeah.
So, if you have anything, collections will take place all the way through next Sunday. Art supplies for Art of Being program, tea, fruit juice, coffee, jams, jellies, and the list goes on. Please check the website for more information as well.
After today applies to this.
After today applies to this. After today applies to this. Thank you so much.
Hey, Max.
Yes.
Just point out, if they don't have time to go shopping, there's an Amazon wish list.
Oh, if you don't have time to go shopping, there is an Amazon wish list?
Yep.
Oh, awesome.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Can you tell I haven't done this before?
It wouldn't matter, I'd still talk.
I love that about my wife. Susan said it wouldn't matter, I still talk. So again, the winter coat drive, again, next Sunday, also after today. Next Sunday is, you can still bring jackets, and they can still use them, please. And the pop-up market. What's in our market? Artisans, live music, holiday fun. It is December 14th, after today. It is December 14th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's inside the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living, here on Winding Way.
I don't know if there's popcorn.
So there's a question about popcorn going on here. So what I would like for everyone to do as we continue our abundance, or abundance, what?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Please repeat this affirmation with me to carry along with you for this week. God is my abundant source and supply.
Yes.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Shall be.
And One Love Band.
Take us home.
We're going to do a closing song and then have our benediction. And so thank you so much for this beautiful day. Thank you, Reverend Susan and Max. It was
Yes.
wonderful. We are so filled and so blessed. And this is what we're going to do for the rest of the week.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Go let it shine. Go let it shine. Go let it shine. Ooh, go let it shine. 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 Ooh, go let it shine. So please join us. 12 o'clock.
Get it together.
I know, I'm just pulling stuff apart here. All right, there we go. And now it's time for our benediction.
First we circle up.
First we circle up.
Circle up with prayer hands, namaste hands.
Prayer hands, prayer hands. Safe prayer hands.
If you would go inward for just a moment and join me for a moment of benediction. Please repeat after me. I am at home in the heart of God.
I'm at home in the heart of God.
My life is anchored in truth.
My life is anchored in truth.
I can never be separate.
I can never be separate.
I live in the consciousness of peace.
I live in the consciousness of peace.
I am a receiving monster,
I am a receiving monster.
and I give freely,
I give freely.
and so it is.
So